This movie is woke AF, and the fact that it is woke AF is the reason that this movie SUCKS. Now to find out if anyone is still with me after that opening statement. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds. And today we're going to be talking about what I guess is a remake of Black Christmas. I've never seen the other movie or movies, however many there are, so I can't really compare it. But hey, we're talking about Black Christmas today. Let me just say this at first. There's going to be spoilers in this review. If you've seen the trailer, you know exactly what's going to happen in the movie pretty much. And if you haven't seen the trailer, you'll figure it out real quick because it's not very clever at hiding what its secrets. Okay, the setup for this movie is that you have a sorority who a few years ago, one of the members was assaulted by a member of this fraternity. And so anytime she's around them, rightfully so, she's very uncomfortable. The guy got away with it. No one believed, well, quote unquote, no one believed her. I mean, of course, some people believed her, but the school didn't believe her, and the guy wasn't punished and he graduated and all that. So that's the setup there. You have someone in a mask that's going around killing sorority girls. And then, the friends from this sorority are going to a party at this fraternity, who the girl has issues with, and she gets a little bit of revenge on them that night. And by the way, that's probably my favorite part of the movie, where she gets a little revenge on them. I thought that the trailer for this movie was gonna have misinformed me of what this movie was gonna be. At that point, I thought, maybe they're gonna be a little clever with this, but no, they weren't. But yeah, my favorite part of the movie is when she gets a little bit of revenge. She publicly calls out this guy for assaulting her during a stage show, and it's funny and it's in his face and it works, right? I really enjoyed that part. But then she starts getting weird text messages. Some of her friends have disappeared, especially one of her sorority friends, and so they try to find out what's going on, and they have also the other people in the sorority, and the boyfriend of one of the sorority girls is getting weird texts and things like that from the founder of the college. So that's basically the setup. Okay, to explain my comments at the first look, I try to be equal and cool with everybody, right? But when a movie goes so far over the edge one way or another, where it's just being preachy and ignorant, I have to call it out. And that's what this movie does, okay? After the stuff with, even a little before, but after the stuff with the stage show, which again, very clever part, it involves a remake of a song that calls out someone for assault, and it was fantastic. Every character in this movie, if you're a girl, except for one, if you're a girl, you are right all the time, and you are the good guy. And if you're a guy, you're evil. Unless you're the boyfriend, which, by the way, I want to talk about that part. There was a part with the boyfriend. And then there's this guy that the main girl's kind of interested in. And yeah, he's not a bad guy, but he becomes a bad guy for a while. And then he has to explain, no, it wasn't me. But anyway, there isn't... I can't stand movies that are that black and white, right? It's just, good, evil. There's no real gray area, right? Interesting characters come from gray areas, right? You can have ultra good guys, you can have ultra bad guys, but there's got to be some gray area in there. But oh no, the way that some characters are talked to in this movie, just because they're a man, and yes, don't get me wrong, the sorority or the fraternity brothers are very sexist. I'll just say that. And you can tell one of the teachers who teaches at the college, he's a part of the group, right? You figure it out. Even before you know about this fraternity, you figure out he's a part of the group. And he's one of the big bad guys, if not the big bad guy. and because he's making public statements in class about how someone's trying to shut him down and all this stuff, and he can't teach what he wants and all this stuff. But so I get it. The fraternity are bad guys. I get it. But that doesn't make every male in the history of males bad, right? Now in this movie they are, though, because okay, the boyfriend of one of the sorority sisters, you know, they're a good couple and they're doing really well. But then it gets to this part where they need them to disagree. The movie needs them to disagree, so he'll leave, right? So he starts to drink a beer. They don't set up anything where he used to be an alcoholic, or he's an alcoholic, or he had trouble with alcohol before, or he can't be around alcohol or something. Nothing, right? He's drinking a beer, and his girlfriend says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm drinking a beer." You're not drinking a beer. You can't drink a beer. He's like, I want a beer. And she's scolding him for drinking a beer. For no reason whatsoever. Now, if there was other parts of the movie cut out that we don't know about, or I didn't see, I guess I'm wrong, but it's just that she's on him for drinking a beer. And this leads them to have an argument where he's right, but the movie says she's right. He says to her, "You're grouping all of us men in together. We're not all bad. We're not all evil people. We don't all assault people. We don't attack people." He goes, "Yes, there's bad people out there," but he goes, "We're not all bad. I'm not one of the bad guys." And she says, one of the girls or the girlfriend, I can't remember, says, are you dropping that on me, this whole we're not all bad thing? And it's like, come on, man. The guy has a legitimate argument here that, look, he's a good guy. And you're mad at him for drinking a beer first. And then you're getting mad at him because he's trying to tell you that, hey, we're not all in this group together. I don't assault people. I don't attack people. I'm not even a part of this frat, right? He has a legitimate gripe, and she basically throws him out because he's a man and he's wrong. And it's just stuff like that in this movie that, look, if you want to have a message about your female characters banding together and being strong and taking on this frat, which this movie does have, that can work. The scene where a lot of the sorority sisters from other houses get together and they take on the frat, that worked for me, right? But just when you have these characters that are wrong just because they're men, it's just, it seems fake. I mean, granted, yes, we're talking about a movie where there's, okay, spoiler time, there's this mystic ooze coming out of the bust of the founder of the college, where it can control people and bring out their quote-unquote true nature. They can mind control people and all this weird stuff with it if they put like ritual symbols on their head and stuff like that. It's kind of dumb. So you have this, I know it's not a realism, but it just takes me out of a movie when you have characters acting like that, where this is how a real conversation would go. Right? This isn't how the conversation would have went. It's just, you're wrong, you're a man, get out. And it just, that took me out of the movie right there. And he even tries to come back and apologize because he was wrong, and then takes an arrow to the face. And honestly, it's kind of funny. So yeah, there's that. This boyfriend, that character that they have. You have, he's basically like, I don't know. It's hard to really explain, but he's a, I don't know the right word, but women are always right kind of guy, right? I'm not sure the exact word for that. I don't think that way, so I don't know what the word is, but he's very apologetic, even when he doesn't need to be apologetic. I mean, look, I could see a guy being sensitive. They're sensitive. This guy is just, oh, you're right. Everything you say is right. And then, of course, he gets mind controlled And then he kind of attacks later, but then he has to later, he breaks it. He, out of willpower, he breaks out of the control and is able to help the girls at the end, which in a way, in a movie that's so woke AF as this movie, you have to have a scene where a guy saves a girl, which I thought was kind of funny. Because like this is going against everything you're trying to make me believe up to this point. Because this is at the very end of the movie, so there's my issues with that. Okay, what else? Does anything else work in this movie? Not really. There's no anything they're trying to keep secret. Even if you haven't seen the trailer, you're gonna figure out. You can get the basic gist of, hey, they're the bad guys, and the bust has something to do with it. I mean, they really show you right near the first that the bust has something to do with it, that you got to break the bust. And it's just, that, exactly where the story's going to go. What was really crazy, though, is that, okay, if some of these guys were just being mind controlled and breaking the bust broke the mind control, which the way I understood it, that's the case, them murdering all the guys at the end doesn't make any sense. They murder all the guys at the end. They let them burn in their fraternity house. If it broke, and if it didn't break control, okay, I'll give them that. But from what I understood, breaking the bust ends the whole thing. So at least that's the way the movie explained it. If the bust breaks, the dark magic's gone. Well, wouldn't you think that there's some guys that would just be evil anyway, but there's probably some people in there that were mind controlled, and you let them burn in a fraternity. Murderers. But yeah, oh man, this movie, it was just hard to sit through. There were some things I liked. The song that they sung on the stage was great. There's a scene where the main character who had been assaulted saves her friend from being assaulted near the first of the movie, and that really worked because she walks in a room and she sees her friend basically saying she's waiting to see if her friend is consenting to this, and it turns out she had been roofied, and she basically saves her friend, and that's why she ends up getting on stage and singing the song. So there's some scenes that worked. The violence at the end, the action at the end was all right, and the fraternity, they're fighting. When the women bust in the door with weapons, ready to take on the dudes. I mean, the scene was fine. It's just the setup and the characters and everything before that is what didn't work for me. I haven't seen the original again. If you like the original, tell me about the original in the comments. I'm really curious on how the original compares to this one. I don't really have time to go watch it, but I'm just curious. If you've seen the original, I know there's some people out there that told me they like the original. So definitely tell me what you think. But yeah, it was a little too woke for me. Again, if you enjoy it, good for you. If you like that kind of movie, if you're into that kind of thing, then you're going to love this movie. For me, I just like a little more gray area when it comes to my characters. I can't stand black and white characters that divided. It's just so, there's no gray area, and it drove me nuts. So yeah, I will not recommend this movie to anybody. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about Black Christmas or the original, again, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about the original. Please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later.